All right. Welcome to the channel. This is Clarity Empress, the Empress of Clarity, here to bring you a collective energy reading for my Clarity Empress Collective. I hope everybody is doing well. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Comment in the comment section or the chat whenever you see this, and let me know if the reading resonates with you. Today, I'm so sorry. One of my new spiels to remind y'all that not only do we unpack tarot and oracle, but that we do cover some psychological um, concerns and hot topics. They come up. All right. So let's get the gang all in here. All right. So we get ready. What is going on? What's going on? I don't know what's happening, y'all. My browser's bugging out. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, now it came up. Where is it? Okay, we shall see what we shall see. So, this is a little experiment on this channel because I think these videos are going to go on the other channel. I have determined that depending on the title, you do not want healing. This collective wants to be bitter, mad. You want to see the karmic get it. You want to see the dusty musty get it. I get it. I understand. You want to know that somebody is getting what they deserve. They are receiving their karma. But what I'm starting to see is if I tell y'all how to heal, like if I just give y'all some tips on how to heal, something you can apply for your life, for your happiness, y'all don't want to hear that. For some reason, y'all just want to hear how the karmic is going to get it. And I'm just saying, that's, you know. Hey, Walker. How you doing? So, the question is collective. Do y'all want to learn how to heal or do y'all want to just stay mad at the karmic? Like what is it that y'all decide y'all want to do? Help me understand. Like I probably need to create a poll or something for y'all to understand or for me to get a better understanding of what y'all really want cuz I don't know, I'm starting to feel like y'all just want to be bitter. You good, Walker? That's good. That's good. No, I'm starting to believe that yeah, folks just I don't know. Cancel that. Next. It's not what next. What's up, sis? Show bookmark bar. Okay. Enable session or show again. So, skip. Okay. So, Black Cherry, what I noticed, and we're gonna see at the end of this live how it go down. But when I put something up that reflects how you heal, they don't want to see that. The vast majority of people see that title and see, oh, it's something about healing. I want to see that. They want to stay mad at the karmic. They want to stay mad at the RB, the raggedy B. They want to stay mad at the dusty, musty, crusty. And that's it. They just want to stay angry. But we want to heal in the spiritual lounge. You know what I'm saying? Like everything can't be about them. That way we can change the energy. You know what I'm saying? Like it would only make sense to change the energy for you to move on and be happy and not be worried about what somebody doing and how they doing it. Am I right or am I bugging? You know what I'm saying? Because the vast majority ain't looking to be, I don't know. I'm just seeing. I think the statistics or the data from this particular live is going to tell me, based on the title, folks do not want to heal. They want to stay bitter. What's up, Monty? They just want to stay bitter. I'm going to talk about the topic, but I don't expect um, you know what I'm saying, people to really delve in like they should. What y'all think? I gotta figure out, how do I put up a poll? I have to learn how to do that part. Let me see. Nope, nope, that ain't it. What is this? Oh, no. Uh, hmm. Oh, I said good it. I'm like, what can we good it? Okay, got you. What does this mean? Start a poll. Right. Let's start a poll. I'm about to do the poll now. Hold on, almost there. Almost there. This is gonna be new, y'all. We starting a poll. Ooh, we got a poll, y'all. Yay! Okay. So trauma. Let's get to it. Trauma can significantly affect mental health by leading to conditions such as post traumatic stress disorder, or in, for the sake of trauma, like domestic trauma, like at home, is complex post traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, and depression. It can alter emotional responses, disrupt daily functions, and increase vulnerability to further mental health issues. So, a lot of times when somebody has trauma, they um, they actually develop their own mental health issues, right? So they're feeling trauma from somebody, and then you know their bodies are reacting to the trauma. Their minds, the way they think. Um, there you go. Moshi. Now behind. Are you ready? So, trauma can have a profound and lasting impact on mental health. It affects emotions, thoughts, behaviors long after the traumatic event has passed. Whether the trauma is caused by abuse, loss, violence, or a life threatening situation, its effects can be deeply rooted and interfere with daily life. Many individuals struggle with anxiety, depression, post traumatic stress disorder as a result of past trauma, making it essential to seek professional support. All right, so this is coming from, just so you know, what is that? Philadelphia. Hold on, let me make it full screen so I can see what I'm looking at. The name of this company. I know it's a Philadelphia something healthcare team, mental health care team. All right, so how trauma affects mental health, right? Anxiety and and a persistent fear, even in safe environments, right? So, the impact of trauma does vary from person to person, but these are the common effects I'm reading. So, again, anxiety, persistent fear, even in safe environments, right? And, I got to also add that experiencing trauma can disrupt the way the brain processes emotions, memories, and stress responses, right? So, like, we want to reason with people who have been through trauma, and we want them to react like we react. Like maybe we haven't gone through the same trauma, and we're imploring them to use their common sense, or, you know, make a good decision or something like that. But they're operating with an altered brain because of the impact of their trauma. Okay. So, depression and feelings of hopelessness or isolation. A lot of times, people who have experienced trauma tend to self isolate a lot. And they do feel hopeless. They feel like, well, this is all I got, or this is the best I can do, that type of feeling. Depression does set in, but depression does look different on a lot of different people. People can smile through depression, but depression can be very prevalent in that person's life. Difficulty trusting others and forming healthy relationships. Hi, Hannah Robbins, and thank you. Thank you for joining. Um, yeah, so difficulty trusting others and forming healthy relationships. So, if you're going through a lot of trauma, it is really hard to trust others, to be vulnerable, to open yourself up to somebody that you don't have that experience with, or you don't have any experience with, right? So it makes it challenging for you to trust yourself and to trust your judgment when it comes to interacting with other people. Okay. Flashbacks or intrusive thoughts related to a traumatic event. Sometimes people trigger you. You don't even know. And the people that didn't do anything to you can trigger you. People that have done things can trigger you. Situations, thoughts just come back, and you relive that moment. Okay. That is part of how things affect you, right? Sleep disturbances, including nightmares and insomnia, you can lose a lot of sleep. When you are going through it, um, with from a traumatic perspective, you lose sleep because maybe your trauma, somebody woke you up in the middle of the night, or things haunt you, meaning you have bad dreams, or falling asleep just doesn't feel safe, right? It's so many things that could be happening, or just the rumination in your mind. Emotional numbness or difficulty feeling positive emotions. Some people disassociate. They don't feel their emotions. They, something they should be angry about, they don't get angry. Something they should be happy about, they can't get happy. You just emotionally numb. You don't typically react in a healthy manner. You know what I mean? And then it says increase irritability, anger, or mood swings. Right? You don't even know why you mad. Your moods fluctuate, right? Well, it can fluctuate due to the triggers. It can fluctuate due to a lack of rest. You know what I'm saying? It could fluctuate due to just not really adequately dealing with any of your issues. So, for some individuals, untreated trauma can lead to self destructive behaviors such as substance abuse. And like I said, tell y'all all the time, trauma is a gateway drug. Back in the day, people, they promoted that weed was the backup. I'm sorry, was the gateway drug, but it's not. It is trauma. People use trauma to numb, to 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 disassociate, to not feel the pain of whatever they're experiencing at that time. It says um, untreated trauma could lead to avoidance of situations that trigger painful memories. And without proper treatment, these coping mechanisms can make it harder to recover and move forward. Right? We have to move away. When we got trauma, we have to move away from coping mechanisms, or at least recognize what those coping mechanisms are, and move toward coping skills, things that help us, you know, self regulate. So, for example, somebody might, after work, have a hard week, hard day, whatever, and they want to decompress. They go home and they get a bottle of something to drink, okay, some type of alcoholic beverage. Um, but what if that's not available, or somebody puffs on weed? What if the weed is not available? Are you going to be able to cope, right? So you got to ask yourself, how are you going to cope? Well, that's where you have to go learn some coping skills. Now, you can use Google, you can use YouTube University, or you can go get a licensed professional therapist that has experience in whatever your situation is. And you will be amazed when you look at people's specialties and what they specialize in as far as strategies and different, I don't know what they call them in psychology, but the different issues that people have, or disorders, or mental health challenges, right? People specialize in a whole plethora of things. So you want to go to somebody that when you can identify what they have, like if you have been a victim of narcissistic abuse, if you have been a victim of, you are part of the LGBT community and being bullied, if you're in a marriage situation, or a family squabble or whatever, you want somebody that has the expertise. Somebody, if you need it for your child, then you looking at somebody who specializes in your child range, age range, you know what I'm saying? Or the particulars of, girl issues, boy issues, gender issues, whatever. You want to look into somebody that has your level of expertise. Um, Let me see. So therapy is a crucial tool in helping individuals process and heal from trauma. A lot of times people are really sitting in that pain, and when they may choose to self-harm. You know what I'm saying? They may choose to uh, get addicted to substances. They may zone out on video games. I've seen a lot of range when it comes to adults, that you see this one person doing the same thing over and over again, and then they get on um, social media like Facebook or something, and they talk about how bad things are in their life and all this stuff, but then they're really not doing anything about it. Like if you have the bird's eye view and you can see what they're about, they want attention, but they don't want help. Um, a professional therapist provides a safe and supportive environment where individuals can explore their emotions, understand their reactions, and develop healthy coping strategies or skills, like I mentioned. There are several therapeutic approaches for trauma recovery, and they include cognitive behavioral therapy, which is CBT, and it helps individuals identify and change negative thought patterns associated with trauma. Then there's eye movement desensitization, which is EMDR. It's a technique designed to reduce the emotional distress linked to traumatic memories. Um, there is trauma focused therapy, which specifically addresses past traumatic experiences and their impact on present behaviors and emotions. And then there's group therapy or support groups, which provide a sense of community and shared healing among individuals with similar experiences. Now, all of these you would be working with a trained therapist to regain control over your thoughts, your emotions, improve your overall mental health and well being. The thing about how trauma also rewires the brain is that, you tend to think once you develop these things, you tend to think like that, right? Even outside of the experience. But what happens is when you're in trauma, it'll help you identify it. Um, and those therapies help you change and then rewire your brain into a more healthy state. All right. So why is seeking help essential? Okay. Many people hesitate to seek therapy for trauma due to fear, shame, or belief that they could be able to cope on their own. However, professional support is often necessary for breaking the cycle of distress and finding meaningful healing, what I just basically said. Therapy offers guidance, tools, and support to help individuals reclaim their lives and build resilience. So, you know, therapy really should be tailored to the individual's unique experience and needs. So you might have you may have similar and shared type of experience with others, but your therapy should still be tailored to your experience, right? So that you might have had I don't know, say you grew up with a alcoholic parent, but Tommy grew up with an alcoholic parent that beat on him, but you didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? Or your alcoholic parent was what they call it, functional, right? They were neglectful, but they were still functional, meaning they could go to work, they could make money, y'all were still stable. They just were functional alcoholics, right? And then somebody else's situation where their parent was an alcoholic and they couldn't keep a roof over their head. They kept moving, or they've been evicted, or they were homeless. There's so many variables within shared experiences that the one of the best ways is, even if you're in a group therapy, is still to have individual therapy so that you can still work on your particular issues, right? um you know and professional help will help you break the cycle of distress, and it'll help you find a meaningful healing, right? It gives you guidance and tools and support, right? So you can reclaim your life and, build resilience. But if you never go and you keep saying, I got it, I'm good, I can do it, well, 9 times out of 10, you're going to keep repeating the same cycle because you're only recycling what you know. You don't get any help, you just keep doing the same thing. So I put this poll up. I don't know how to get rid of it now. Shoot. Okay. Because I can tell by the analytics, that's what it's called. The analytics. When people come on the channel, what they want to see and what they don't want to see. People, I'm getting the vast majority of people. I bet you there'll probably be 20 views, maybe 30 views tops, if that, on this particular live because we're talking about healing. So if you came to this particular live because you want to hear about healing or how trauma impacts your life and what you could do about it, I applaud you because that means you're trying to take a step, or you at least have a clue or want to have a clue about how trauma impacts your brain and what you can do. So if you know anyone, if it's not you, struggling with the effects of trauma, encourage them to reach out for professional support, and let them know it can make all the difference. And it doesn't matter if they had a recent trauma or struggling with the effects of a past trauma. If you lead them to the right support, they can get the help that they need, right? It'll help lead them to emotional growth. It'll improve their relationships, and there'll be a renewed sense of hope for the future when you have something to look forward to. You know what I'm saying? When you, oh, I can stop ruminating now. I feel, much better now. All of that, all of the support you get, it matters, right? Let's see. Let's move on. Oh, and where's my deck so I can give y'all visuals? I know it's right there in my face. There it is. Thank you, Black Cherry. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't want the healing. They don't want to know. It's unfortunate too. Folks just want to stay mad at the karmic and talk about that and only focus on the karmic. I want them to hurt. I want them to have pain. Now, let me delve a little deeper in the effects of trauma, but I'm still going to give you some visuals. I'm gonna give y'all some visuals. That trust issue, hardness. As you can tell, right? They don't really want to get that good. They just want to get mad. They want to know. They want karma to impact people. Man, that's part of the problem. So who is affected by trauma? Trauma has no boundaries regarding age, gender, socioeconomic status, race, ethnicity, or sexual orientation. Trauma is a common experience for adults and for children. Mm. And it's especially common in the lives of people with mental and substance use disorders. People who already been diagnosed. Um, but that's more the reason why trauma in your life should basically be addressed. Like, you can't leave it where you think, oh, that just happens to everybody else. It doesn't just happen to everybody else. It can happen to you. It can impact you. And then if it does, then what you going to do? How are you going to deal with it? Are you going to just sit there and sit in isolation and think you can solve all your problems? Or are you going to get help? That is key. Because a lot of people hide the fact that they got mental illness and problems. They hide it. Instead of coming clean with it, they sitting there trying to mask it. You can't mask everything for long. The mask eventually falls off. So it says the effect of trauma events play a heavy burden on individuals, families, and communities. Although many people who experience a traumatic event will go on with their lives without lasting negative effects, others will have difficulties and experience traumatic stress reactions. How someone responds to a traumatic experience is personal. If there's a strong support system in place, little or no prior traumatic experiences, and if the individual has many resilient qualities, it may not affect his or her mental health. Now, I gotta add, and they haven't said it yet in anything I'm clinically reading the clinical, but the mental health does affect your physical health, and there are markers to test that. Called One of them is called ACEs. ACEs is a questionnaire that you answer, and based on where you rank on your answers, it tells you what your likelihood for other health challenges would be based on the environment, how you grew up, in the mental health, right? And your mental health. So, although many people experience it, how someone, yeah, okay, hold on. Research also has shown that traumatic experiences are associated with both behavioral health and chronic physical health. I just said that, right? Conditions, especially those traumatic events that occur during childhood. Substance use, mental health conditions, and other risky behaviors have been linked with traumatic experiences. Because this behavioral health concern can present challenges in relationships, career, and other aspects of life, it is important to understand the nature and impact of trauma and explore healing. Let's just give an example as far as like somebody with a lot of fears. They tend to have a lot of roadblocks, right? They feel like they can't get a job, keep a job, or what I'm saying, they can't get ahead, or they're trying to go to school and this is not working and that's not working. A lot of times, they're in a situation where it's hard to think straight, one, because they're not asking for help. So a lot of times professionals in service to them. For example, if you go to a register office and you want to apply and you just say, "Oh, I want to register," and they look at your stuff or your credentials and either you don't have them or what you have is going to cost you money, people just give up. Sometimes folks just give up. And instead of saying, "Listen, I'm having this challenge, I need some help, I need my FOSFA done, I need my blah, blah, blah," or whatever, they're doing other things. They're just not, and they give up. Or some people go to school, get so far, and then they just can't finish. They go to a job, they find a way to get fired. You know what I'm saying? They live in sorrow, they live in depression. You know what I'm saying? And that's because they're not addressing their own issues, right? So some trauma may have caused their issues, but they're not addressing the issues. So then they end up in situations where life does just not work out well. And that is why trauma needs to be addressed. A lot of, when I did the mental health CPR class, I took that class because I wanted to be able to offer assistance to others. I wanted to be able to let people know, or even be prepared for somebody who might have a mental breakdown or a crisis without escalating it, hopefully without saying the wrong thing, without being too pushy, because basically you're leading someone in that situation, you're leading somebody to their healing. You're not doing the work for them. Okay, that's not what the mental health field is really about. It's, let me show you how you can help yourself. But people have to be open before you can crack that door, get the see the results of your support. They have to be willing to take the steps necessary. And if they're not, then they stay in that energy and they continue to repeat mistakes. And they probably, more than likely, will continue to, I was about to say black backside, but that's not what I mean. They will spiral. That's what I want to say. They'll spiral. Like they'll basically not be able to function well because those things, those vices that are so toxic in their life, will get a hold of them, and that grip on when it comes to toxic substances, right? That grip is a vice. Like but they're the ones holding on to it, right? And they're the only ones that can release it. You can't release it for them. So somebody who's refusing mental health or mental help, right? You gotta let them decide when they want it. Now, you could present it to them. Here are your options. You could try this doctor, this therapy, and this thing, right? Um, You can offer all kinds of suggestions, grounding themselves, walking barefoot, meditation, yoga, whatever. You could say all the healthy things, eat better, get get more rest. You know what I'm saying? Take some magnesium, do this, do that, do that. If they don't do it, if they don't do anything, they won't get any results. It's just that simple. And the unfortunate part is that um a lot of times there's a lot of people around them, around people who are having issues with their trauma that are not trauma informed, right? Our families typically aren't trauma informed. Maybe they are the ones implementing the trauma, but they're not trauma informed. So therefore, a lot of folks can't help you if they're not trauma informed. They'll tell you things like, "Oh, don't worry about that," or "Oh, just get over that," or "Don't, why are you crying about that? Boys don't cry, girls do this or girls do that. Oh, you always crying." But they don't understand, like, you got emotions. You know what I'm saying? You need a little bit more than uh um not a pep talk, but a put down really, or a joke. Some people don't take you seriously. But that's why if you are the one experiencing the trauma, you have to take you seriously. In order to break the mold or in order to break the generational curses, you got to step outside of your comfort zone and you have to do something different. And 9 times out of 10, the difference is seeking some type of help so you can stop feeling and experiencing what you're experiencing, at least, or really subside it greatly. Hi, Michael Ellis. So, so let's talk about some trauma informed approaches and programs. I mentioned a bunch of them, but let's go through here. Now, SAMHSA, I don't know if you know, SAMHSA is that how do you put it? Let me just make sure I get the whole thing right. Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration, right? Now, how SAMHSA promotes trauma informed care is safety. They do approach it like a CPR stance, but there's 6 principles. Safety. The participants and staff feel physically and psychologically safe. 2, peer support. Peer support and mutual self help are key as vehicles for establishing safety and hope, building trust, enhancing collaboration, and utilizing their lived experience to promote recovery and healing. So sometimes, like when you are a substance abuser for, I don't know, if you have, was it Alcohol Anonymous? Sometimes you have peer support. You meet in groups, you meet a person, you guys hold each other accountable, right? That's your peer support. Somebody who has a mutual situation, I will call it. And you guys would work together to try to keep each other sober. There's trustworthiness. Number 3, trustworthiness and transparency. Organizational decisions are conducted with the goal of building and maintaining trust with participants and staff. So when you go, in a either in a group situation or in a professional one-on-one environment, there's got to be trustworthiness and transparency. If you're going through something, you got to be honest with them, and they too need to be honest with you. There's collaboration and mutuality. The importance is being placed on partnering and leveling power differences between staff and service participants. So it's not the therapist is over you, controlling you, um, any of that. It's more of a mutual understanding, like a contract, so to speak. You agree to partner with them, right? So you are mutuals now. They're not your colleague, but you're mutual. So you guys have an understanding of what their role is, and they have an understanding of what your role is. And you work together to solve your issue. We also have cultural, historical, and gender issues. Culture and gender responsive services are offered while moving beyond stereotypes and biases. So you want to seek a professional that kind of understands you culturally, um, that won't, you know, stereotype you or misunderstand your culture or anything like that, because it's harder to relate to somebody who does not share any of your lived experience. Um, to be quite honest, all right, so in transparency, when I did seek therapy for pregnancy loss over 22 years ago, almost 23 years ago, um, I could have flipped through the compendium that the insurance company gave me, but that would have been harder for me to find somebody in the specialty of what I needed with as far as pregnancy losses, right? So the doctor at the time, my bedside doctor, gave me a card and told me, here's this person that they do accept insurance, and they are that she specializes in loss, all types of losses when it comes to children with pregnancy loss. That to me is the expert I want to talk to. That to me is somebody who could potentially understand me and support me. And it was really a good choice. Okay. Um, so you want to find somebody you can identify with. I feel like don't do the extreme. The extreme opposite may not work, or for some people it might, but you want somebody that can resonate with you to a degree. It's not about sharing all their problems, but they can at least resonate with you, identify what you have going on, and be supportive, right? And then we got organizations foster a belief in the primacy of the people who are served to heal and promote recovery from trauma. So, you want to get with organizations that foster similar beliefs. If you were Muslim, you're not going to go to a highly Christian agency because they may not resonate with you, and vice versa. Some who are understand, yeah, but if they're conservative or whatever, they have certain beliefs and ideologies that wouldn't resonate with a Muslim family. So you got to consider what your issues are, where they stem from, where they come from, and if you are dealing with the right organization. Yes. Yes, Cherry. Yes, Cherry. Thank you. So what is seclusion? Oh, seclusion and restraint. Now you don't want your you do not want your mental health if you're feeling pretty healthy right now with some things that you need to work on. You do not want to get to the point of seclusion and restraint because that is involuntary solitary confinement of an individual. Please seek help before you start hearing voices telling you to do things that you shouldn't do, before you feel like you're spiraling out of control and somebody decides to take control over you. Because it's very easy for agencies to decide, oh, we'll take it from here. I don't know why that is. I know it differs in each state too. So you want to make sure that if you are experiencing anything, that you start seeking the help before it gets too bad. All right. And then we have um restraint. Now, restraint is any method, physical or mechanical or material or equipment that immobilizes or reduces an individual's ability to freely move his arms, legs, body, or head. It could be a drug or medication, um, but any of that to restrict your behavior and your movement. Now, why seclusion and restraint is harmful? Studies have shown that the use of seclusion and restraint can result in psychological harm, physical injuries, and death to both the people subject to and the staff applying these techniques. Injury rates to staff in mental health settings that use seclusion and restraint have been found to be higher than injuries sustained by workers in high risk industries. Restraints can be harmful and often re traumatizing for people, especially those who have trauma histories. Beyond the physical risk of injury and death, it has been found that people who experience seclusion and restraint remain in care longer and are more likely to be readmitted for care. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to put yourself in a position. Start seeking your help when you start feeling the onset. If you're aware, if you're self aware, start seeking. Okay. So, the idea of eliminating seclusion and restraint is the way SAMHSA would prefer things to go. That's one of their goals and initiatives. Um, we could get into some more, but hold on. Hmm. So they have another goal called resiliency in communities after stress and trauma, but that's more of an initiative. I don't want to do that. But there's some really good YouTube videos I would suggest. How childhood trauma affects health across lifetime by Nadine Burke. Something I don't know what her last name is. I think Birkin. I don't know, but it's on YouTube. It's a TED Talk. She talks about how they created ACEs and why, and how the mental health impacts your physical health. 4 ways that trauma changes the brain. How trauma and PTSD change the brain. That's a short video. And then there are effects of trauma on the brain and how it affects behavior. Let's pull up this one. I forgot I took. Um, let's see. Play. Oh, come on. It's spinning. No, it's not working. Yeah, no. Mhm. There's another video. I can't play it right now. I don't know what the problem is. But it is how trauma gets trapped in the body. Black Cherry, you want to read it? Yeah, I don't know. I really think that this computer need to go back because I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this crap when my thing don't want to work or the sound work when it want to. So annoying. Let's see something. Let me just check. Yeah, it's not muted. Oh well. Yes, how trauma gets trapped in the body. All right, so I'm going to give you your live donation reading, my dear. So, yeah, let me see what the votes are so far since we got 5 votes. Okay. Some people said they want to heal for happiness. I believe it when I see it, y'all. I ain't trying to be funny, but I believe it when I see it. Cherry, you got a question or this is general? Give me a message for what you need to know or be aware of. Give me a message for what you need to know. Okay. Okay, got the Ace of Cups, new love. Any more? So you got King of Wands energy reverse. Somebody needs to learn some lessons. Tell me more. But you got patience, temperance, or you've been there's some divine timing situation going on here, but this is temperance when seriously you gotta exercise patience. Um yeah, I'm gonna say patience right now. Tell me more spirit. Challenge and lesson. There's a tower moment simmering, or already happened, like a cuss out that needs to occur, or something that needs to just fall. Tell me more. And then we got Page of Cups, a new beginning, or apology. Somebody owe you an apology. One of your children, somebody need to say sorry. And get out of their head, or you need to get out of your head. Maybe you're stressing. I'm getting stressed, but I'm also getting you kind of ticked with the King of Swords in reverse. So what is given with him is that they somebody need to learn their lesson. Oh, Spirit said also you've been more than patient. Oh, okay. You've been more than patient. Um, but you know my Ace of Cups is tears. So like you've had tears like a purging, you know. Maybe not a boohoo tear type of thing. It could have been tears of anger, but anytime a tear flows, it's a purge. You're releasing some type of emotion, some type of frustration. And Ace of Cups is really a new beginning, but that's not what I'm getting from that Ace of Cups. I'm just getting that with this King of Wands, they got a lot of learning to do, a lot of lessons. It's not their way of the highway, but they gotta learn their way. There's something they have to learn, and only they can learn it their way. You've had more than enough patience because that's in a hidden energy. You've been biding your time. You have been alchemizing things. You have been thinking things through. But there's a tower. It's similar. It's all not always. It's already like something popped. You know what I'm saying? Like you know how the aftermath of a balloon popping is just the air is dispersed and the balloon is torn up. It's kind of like it already had whatever the festivity was, pop, done. And then you got the Page of Cups. So somebody, they need to come or they are coming with an apology. I'm sorry. I didn't mean for you to feel that way. I'm sorry. You know, can we start over? Don't be mad at me. That type of thing. Because that's a page and that's also a child. And then you got it it kind of quells and removes any rumination overall. I feel like you're not going to be trapped in your mind about anything or anybody. Um, yeah, and you start to heal. Whatever it is that frustrates you, you will start to heal. But it involves somebody coming to you saying, "I'm sorry. Will you accept my offer? Will you accept my cup of love? Will you accept my apology?" That's when you come out of all of this. Well, you may already been coming out of this because I feel like you are in Empress energy, but this King of Wands is in his darkness. I'm getting selfishness, inconsideration. You know, that somebody's inconsiderate. Yeah. I don't know. Take it how it resonates. I feel like that's what you got going on. And let's clarify with all right, that's Akashic record. Reward and recognition. Congratulations, your hard work will soon pay off and take you to the direction of your dreams. Acknowledge your efforts and own your power. Hmm. Tell me more. And somebody else that he holding a cup too. Spirit said you're healing. That's what the Temperance is telling me. Strategy and planning. Your actions have taken you to a new phase in your spiritual evolution. Now is the time to plan and strategize for the highest possible outcome. Also, um, hey Lati. Well, I also get like the way you're evolving spiritually is taking you in a new direction than maybe in the past, right? So I feel like that Eight of Swords energy would have been the opposite. Now let me show you the opposite. This would have been you in the past. Like if this is how you reacted to things in the past, you would have felt stuck. You would have felt trapped. Now you're feeling more liberated. You know what I'm hearing? No is no. And that's it. The answer is no. And that's it. Like, no is the full sentence. No is the answer. No need for explanation. No is no. That's what I get. All right. So I just feel like are, you are evolving, but it's more about, like, in your evolution, it's about how you respond to anger, disappointment. Um, it's not and you're not responding with an indifference. It's just a calm understanding. Not, so I feel like a lot of times when we fuss, right? We fuss with people. We are still coming at people from whatever our age is, our mental ages, right? But then we also are coming from a hurt space at that age. But when we're not sitting in pain and sitting in the hurt of how somebody treated us because we now experience it another way or a different person, we are demonstrating our healing. We're demonstrating our age and our elevation and our maturity. And I feel like there's a growth in your maturity and how you're handling things, how you're responding to things, and you're not trapped in your head, and your boundaries are strong, and no is no. Wait, one more and bottom of that. And spirit will reward you. And you speaking up with confidence. You're not letting nothing eat you inside. Yeah, and you know what? Ooh, what I'm also getting is that you have learned to speak your truth without feeling that restrained. They said when you are holding back, that's a silent killer. Literally a silent mental killer that affects your physical health when you're restrained. But when you speak your mind, you speak your truth and your peace, you are so liberated. Let me tell you, I run my mouth, and I know some people's feelings might get hurt. I don't aim to hurt nobody. I just aim to be honest and truthful with whomever I'm dealing with, right? But there's sometimes I know, the truth does hurt. But guess what? I sleep better at night if I'm honest with you and I'm not restraining myself. The more I hold myself back, the more I would be in this Eight of Swords energy. What I'm feeling is that you are learning to speak up. You're not restraining yourself. Like maybe in the past, you're not doing that. And the bottom of the deck, look, you trust in yourself. You got this. You work hard to get this far, and you have the ability to create things you desire. Also, reward and recognition. I do feel like spirit is rewarding and recognizing you for your efforts, for your changes, for your growth. Like we came in this skin suit to learn, to grow, to heal, right? But if we're not learning, growing, and healed, then why are we here? What are we doing? Right? We're going to torture ourselves. We're going to keep, we're going to slowly degrade ourselves. We're going to have no boundaries. We're going to be miserable in a lot of ways. But when you decide that you want to take a turn, you want to grow, you want to heal, you're moving different. You're accepting less nonsense. You are more not. mm, your energy shifts, your vibration raises. Yeah, you also can become more optimistic, more positive. You protect your peace. The fuck, you protect your peace more. Like my cats did something like they about to get it, y'all. That was a boom boom. Oh shoot. Well, you living in your truth. That's what I'm hearing. You speaking your truth, and spirit is recognizing you. So that cardinal was confirmation that you are doing the right thing. Did you say that before or after I said that rewarded and recognition? Because I wasn't looking at the screen. Okay. Hmm. I asked, was I wrong? She kept singing, and I was saying, and all I was saying was, no. I was typing at the same time. I was saying, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dialogue. Mm-hmm. That is amazing. I told you my red cardinals represent my grandfather for me, and blue jays are my grandmother. When I see them, I know, that energy is near. But I know it means something different for different people. She was chit chatting at you. Probably was your mama energy telling you that. You want to say how you feel, girl. And bird talk. Say how you feel. Mean what you say. Mm. And then the card came out. Wow. Oh. Oh, so you did want to cry. You did want to cry. And that's what I was talking about with that cup. That's my cup for crying. So yeah, you're welcome. That's how spirit work, don't it, Lottie? Mm. A reboot. Okay. Hold on. Yeah. Pattern restart. Okay. Love to you too, sis. All right. So tomorrow, I had two lives I could do, but it's getting late. It's still Thursday. It means y'all got Friday work and all kinds of stuff to do. So we're not gonna do the second one tonight. But tomorrow's live. I think I'm gonna stick. I'm gonna set it up tonight so y'all can go on and look. But tomorrow's live will be about the entity attachment. Spirit want me to talk about that, so we're gonna talk about the entity attachment. Now it's interesting. All six votes. Do you want happiness? Do you want to stay mad? People say they want happiness. I bet you money I barely get any. views on this live at all because of the title. Anything involving healing, people don't want it. Love to you, love to y'all. Um, so yeah, we're gonna do that tomorrow. We're gonna talk about the entity attachment. What's going on with that with people, because not only folks have trauma and it impacts their brain and the way they make decisions and all of that stuff, but there's also entity attachments that usually prey on weak individuals, weak mentally and emotional individuals who've been through stuff. They can carry those entities. Strong people can carry them too, but that looks a little different. Okay. Then there's people that repel entity attachments because they can't attach themselves to them. For whatever the reason is, they just can't seem to control and get a grip on that person. But we're gonna talk about that tomorrow. In the meantime, I'ma holla at you. Peace, y'all.